In this extra video, I will go through some example haiku from a very popular annual haiku competition. Let's start. Just like the Salaryman Senryu competition, which was covered in my video on Senryu, there is an annual competition for haiku. The most popular one might be Itouen Oi Ocha Shin Haiku Taisho, which is hosted by Itouen, a company that mainly sells tea. In the 29th competition, they received almost 2 million poems, 2,000 of which were awarded some types of prizes. I am going to talk about some haiku that I personally find creative. Note that the majority of the haiku that are submitted for this competition do not follow the traditional rules of haiku very strictly. The first example is the winner of the high school student division of the competition, submitted by a 16-year-old boy. 年を越すわけのわからぬ達成感。年を越すわけのわからぬ達成感。I am sure almost everyone feels a vague sense of accomplishment during the New Year's celebration. However, this haiku describes this feeling as わけのわからぬ。わけがわからない means you do not understand or something doesn't make sense to you. Or it could also mean that a belief is unfounded or unjustified. My interpretation of this haiku is the following. Many people tend to believe that the transition from one year to the next is some kind of special occasion, while the concept of a new year is in fact totally arbitrary, and they feel that passing an arbitrarily defined point on a timeline is an achievement, while they haven't really accomplished anything meaningful. Another haiku by a 14-year-old girl. リンゴと恋、同じ原理で落ちてゆく。リンゴと恋、同じ原理で落ちてゆく。This haiku is a pun. On the one hand, ringo or an apple falls because of gravity, and this ochiru or fall denotes a physical movement of an object through space. On the other hand, the phrase 恋に落ちる to fall in love uses the exact same verb, but it has a much more metaphorical meaning. At first, this haiku didn't make much sense to me because my scientific knowledge outright rejected the idea that koi or love could be explained by gravity, but then I realized that this was just a poem that didn't need to be taken literally. The next haiku was composed by an even younger girl. ちょっとだけ虹を食べたのカメレオン。ちょっとだけ虹を食べたのカメレオン。As you know, rainbows are colorful, and chameleons can change the color of their skin, so this girl must have thought chameleons could do so because they consumed something colorful. Interestingly, this competition also accepts submissions in English. Because the English language doesn't use the Moraic system, to me as a native Japanese speaker, haiku written in English do not sound like haiku because they don't have the distinct 5-7-5 rhythm. But anyway, let's have a look at the winner of the English haiku division, composed by a 15-year-old boy. I suddenly noticed I'm able to touch the high shelf. I suddenly noticed I'm able to touch the high shelf. This haiku is about the feeling of joy when you realize that you have grown taller and that you can now do things you previously couldn't. Another English haiku created by a 16-year-old girl. Moonlight, snow snuggles whole forest. Quiet night. Moonlight, snow snuggles whole forest. Quiet night. It depicts a pretty straightforward scene, but I quite like the use of the verb snuggle, which makes this haiku sound so gentle. There are also submissions from people outside Japan. A haiku by an American gentleman. Morning light, the shadow moves faster than the snail. Morning light, the shadow moves faster than the snail. Notice the use of the dash symbol. Since the English language does not have a set of kireji, symbols such as the dash and the ellipsis are used in English haiku to indicate where a kireji would be. Another haiku, submitted by a Romanian gentleman. Old pier, a child cools his feet in the clouds. Old pier, a child cools his feet in the clouds. At a glance, this haiku may not make much sense because the child's feet cannot reach the clouds, but then you realize that these clouds are just a reflection on the surface of the water, and it simply looks as if the child's feet were buried in the clouds. The link to the website is in the description below. Perhaps you might want to submit your own haiku sometime in the future. I'll be releasing an extra video with more examples of senryu next.